Hello everybody, welcome to another review video. Today we are going to be talking about the new Mac Mini, MacBook Air and MacBook Pro from Apple that was just released yesterday. Before we get started, don't forget to click the like button and subscribe. Today we are going to be talking about why this is probably not the best time for you to be upgrading any of those devices, especially when Apple is just coming out with this new M1 chip. Again, click the like button and subscribe. Let's get started. As a tech enthusiast, or whatever the call is, really I'm just going to say anybody that's just as interested in tech as like I am. I'm a big fan of speakers. Hey, I'm also a big fan of Apple products too. I have an iPad, I have an iPhone, which is right there. I also have an iPhone that I use for work. And I was actually thinking about upgrading my gaming desktop, which is down there. I was actually thinking about upgrading it to the new Mac Mini just in case. I was having the itch to switch all the way into the Apple ecosystem since I'm such a big fan of it. But really, after watching the live Apple whatever about the new Mac Mini, MacBook Air and MacBook Pro, I just did not feel that confident enough to be upgrading at this time. It just felt more like this was a product that Apple was pretty much telling the world that, hey, we're making this, but that's about it. And then fill our head up with all the things that this device can. And not to say that it's not great, but you have to catch me better than that. You have already brought out an iPhone that is no different from an iPhone, which is the iPhone 12, that is really not that much different from the iPhone 11 and so on. Even not that much different from the iPhone X. But hey, let's jump into it and just to see what Apple is giving us, and is there really a reason to upgrade? Let's see. Let's go to the Mac. Okay, so let's just start off with the MacBook Pro. Okay, wow. First of all, I have to say the presentation from the live Apple show yesterday was very nice, and it is always very amazing what you can do when you have a lot of money, and that is something that definitely Apple has. But it's just starting to feel more like now Apple is just taking our money, but we're not really receiving that much innovation. We're not really getting, Apple is not giving us a reason anymore into why you should upgrade. Since I guess they feel like they've already received all the customers that they want. Or I'm sure they're still looking for more customers. Which business doesn't? But I feel like they need to do much better, because now an example of it is this. For me, I have the iPhone 11 Pro Max, as you see right here, and I'm not even gonna lie, I have no problem with the phone. But I'm also in the iPhone upgrade plan, which, hey, if you're in the plan, why not upgrade? But am I excited to get my iPhone 12 Pro Max this Friday? No, I'm not, because everything that I can do with my iPhone 11 Pro Max, I can do. I'm not really interested in lighter. I'm not really that much interested in the new Apple A14 because, like most of us out there, we don't really do much with our phone except use text message, which is the iMessage, watch YouTube videos, and so on. The phone that we have now does everything that we need plus more. So it's like, why upgrade? Right? There's really not much reason to upgrade. You kind of get the view of somebody who is using an Android, because really the top Android phones out there, they really try to put the best technology into their phones. If not for the ecosystem, Apple really won't be where they are today, because really the Android ecosystem is just, at least for me, I just don't feel that the devices are nice, but the ecosystem is just too much when all you need is simplicity. But hey, let's stop talking about the iPhone. That's not what we came here to talk about. Let's jump into the MacBook Air. Okay? Okay, MacBook Air power. This is Air. I mean, really, at this point, if you fall for the ads, and it's because of the ads that you buy the MacBook Air, I mean, you gotta rethink yourself. Okay? Say, okay, supercharge the Apple M1 chip. And you know, I'm sure there's nothing wrong. I'm sure the chip is great, okay? But you have to look at it as this. This is the first M1 chip. This is the first time Apple, not the first time, but this is the first time Apple is jumping into something like this when it comes to something that's more of a laptop. So why should you jump into this? You should not be jumping into this because, like they say out in Air, the 8-core CPU devours tasks and sips battery. Okay, the 8-core CPU plays hard and works wonder. Okay, the M1 has the fastest chip ever made. With that kind of processing speed, the MacBook Air can take on new extraordinary intensive tasks like professional quality editing and action-packed gaming. But okay, so all that's just ads, guys. Okay, again, this is the M1 chip, and I'm sure Apple knows what they're doing. Okay, but we also have to understand again that this is the first of the product in the laptop atmosphere or world. So they can definitely do so much better, which is why not wait for the M2 that will be coming out around the same time next year instead of jumping on this. I believe the starting price for the Mac Air starts at $1,299, I believe. Let me see. Actually, wait a minute. So it starts at $999, and then the Apple M1 chip with the 8-core starts at $1,249. Okay, I mean, very good price, but I mean, if you're buying the 256 gig one, there's no point. Just go to the 512 gig one, and I believe you're still able to upgrade the amount of storage. I mean, storage is something that's definitely needed because you never know. I mean, the 8 gig, I feel that if you're not using your MacBook for anything more than schoolwork, using words, or playing YouTube videos, I mean, the 8 gig should be more than enough for you. Okay, let's go back to the beginning. Okay, the MacBook Air, the machine learning up to 9 times faster, even for a 16-core neural engine. That's a lot to process. Most people do not care about machine learning, nor do they know what machine learning is. They just want something that works. Again, do not listen to the ads. Do you need this laptop? Do you still have your MacBook Air from 2 years ago that's still working perfectly? If it's still working perfectly, better not to even upgrade to this laptop. All this is just ads for you to think and be like, wow, maybe I should upgrade. Because I mean, that's exactly how you're most likely feeling right now. Whether you need it or don't need it, you're thinking, let me upgrade. I mean, and that's just one of the multiple reasons why the just the MacBook Air is really not needed. I mean, what else do they have to offer that you don't already have on the laptop that you currently have? I mean, it may be faster, but most likely you're not even going to notice the speed difference. Most likely. I mean, if you want to test this out, you might as well just wait until probably next week. Go to your nearest Best Buy and test this out. You're not going, if there was a difference between the M1 chip and the Intel chip that's on this 2019 MacBook Air, if you're able to tell the difference in the real world, then and you notice that difference is enough for you to upgrade, then you should upgrade. But apart from that, no, there's just no point. Now let's go to the Mac Mini. This was actually something that I actually wanted to upgrade to. Right now I have a pretty good PC from a company called Cybertron with a NVIDIA GTX 1070, the 8 gig GPU with an 8 gig RAM, 256 gig SSD hard drive, and also a 1 terabyte hard drive. I bought all that for about $1,028 at the time. I mean, that was definitely a good price for me back then, and this computer is still working perfectly. The only reason that I wanted a Mac Mini was because, hey, you know, I've been on the Windows operating system for so long that, I mean, literally, I have my work laptop with me, which is also a Windows operating system. You know, I actually put a sticker on it just for the fun of it. But now, just like, you know what? I want to change it all the way into the Apple ecosystem. You know, I already use Windows for work, and I'm sure I'm going to continue to use Windows for work. Okay, let me go into the Apple ecosystem. But seeing the Mac Mini yesterday, it was just very disappointing. It didn't really come with much. If you understand what I'm saying? Like, okay, so I understand the M1 chip. Okay, I guess I didn't really have too much problem with it. I just wanted to see, okay, is it really worth it to upgrade from what I have now to the Mac Mini? Okay, let's just look at the $699 one, which comes with a 256 gig SSD storage. My desktop right now already has 256 gig SSD storage. I'm good on that. The 8 gig unified memory, I'm good on that. But I guess the big question is this: how good is the M1 chip? If I can see how good the M1 chip is, then I don't need to own onto my desktop anymore. I'll just go ahead and get the Mac Mini because that's really all I need. I don't need the MacBook Pro. I actually had a MacBook Pro before, and it was just, I'm just not a big fan of laptops like I used to be. But how good is the M1 chip? If it's that good, and if it's something that I can use for the next 5-6 years with no problem, then I'll sell my desktop right now and get it. But another big question is there really a point of upgrading on a device that was just produced by Apple? I understand that there's the silicon chip in the iPhones too, so Apple knows about all this stuff, and you know, they have experience. But I don't care about the experience, you know, because at the end of the day, it is your money that is coming out of your bank account. So again, is this needed? That is the big question. Hey, if one of the other big tech YouTubers can give me a reason to upgrade from my Windows desktop to my Mac Mini, I won't mind dropping money on it. I mean, if I was to get one, let's just see. Okay, I know I'm definitely going to get the 16 gig. Okay, I'm definitely getting the 1 terabyte. Final Cut Pro is something that I definitely want, but I can wait on that. Logic Pro X, I don't need it. So hey, literally $1,299, which is more than perfect enough for me, because I'm not going to be doing any hardcore video editing. But yeah, I'm not going to be doing anything hardcore. I don't play video games like that. I have a gaming desktop for no reason, guys. But hey, the 1 terabyte is more than good enough, and the 16 gig memory is more than good enough, as long as the Mac Mini does its job. And all that will come out to about $1,299, which is such a perfect price for me. I feel that if you're not a big editor, if you're a big editor, you should not even get the Mac Mini. You should just go to the Mac Pro, which is about $6,000. That is a crazy price, and I don't make that kind of money yet to be making that kind of purchase. Okay, and I don't do that much to be making that kind of purchase. If I wanted something like the Mac Pro, I'll just go for a Windows desktop that I can upgrade as much as possible and not have to pay that kind of crazy price. But the Mac Mini really is the perfect one for me. It really is. So that's the end for the Mac Mini now. I've given you the reasons for why the Mac Mini is not really what the upgrade. Really, the M1 chip is not really what the upgrade. Now, the last one is the MacBook Pro 13. I mean, from what I was able to see on the Apple site before regarding the MacBook Pro 13, they're still also selling the MacBook Pro 13 with the Intel chip. I mean, we understand that Intel is not as good as it once was, okay? But it's the chip that I think we can all agree that the chip is not bad. Advertisement is what is making it look like the chip is bad. Really, there's no such thing as the perfect device, is all I'm saying. Okay, the MacBook Pro is no different from the MacBook Air, except I'm sure that they increased the power of the M1 chip in the MacBook Pro. Now, again, what are you using your MacBook Pro for? If you're just using it as a regular computer, you should really just get the MacBook Air, and I'm sure that you will not feel the difference. Now, if you're doing anything crazy, the best thing to do is just wait and let one of the big tech YouTubers review the MacBook Pro and see whether you actually need it. If you don't need it, then what's the point? Is the again, the big question is this, especially for the MacBook Pro, is it that much worth a big upgrade going from Intel to M1? I'm sure it is, but from what I've also been hearing about the new M1 chip, it is not going to support a lot of third-party apps. So again, I believe they said that so Adobe Lightroom will be upgraded to be able to support the new M1 chip by the end of this year, and I believe Photoshop will be by next year. So I mean, if the new M1 chip is not going to be supporting a lot of applications that you're using, there's really no point. Again, this M1 chip is literally the first one of multiple generations. You can wait till the M2 when most of the issues have been worked out. You can wait. Literally, is your money coming out your pocket. Apple is not worrying because they know they have customers and know that, hey, some people will not need these devices, but they'll still upgrade. And that's pretty much it. Let's just look at the starting price for the MacBook Pro. Like I was saying before, Apple is still selling the MacBook Pro with the Intel cores for the i5 quad-core processor with the Intel Iris, okay, the 512 gig one and the 1 terabyte. Really, the M1, we have to see what the M1 review is like. If it's that good, then hey, go for it. But really, should you go for it or wait for M2? It's still going to be good too. So that's pretty much it. So guys, that is the end of my review. Hey, if you can, tell me how I did on this review and just let me know what I can definitely do better. Again, don't forget to click the like button and subscribe.